Hi, I'm Steve Casely from CBT Nuggets, and this nugget is managing product delivery. This is where the team delivers the project. This is where the team completes all of the work required to satisfy the business objective. This is the actual execution. This is the product project delivery. And this nugget continues our review of the Prince2 processes. This is, as discussed, managing product delivery, or again, the acronym is MP, and this is where the team completes the work. And this is not to suggest that everything we've been doing as project managers to plan and control the project isn't work. This is hard work for us as project managers, but this is where the team does the work. This is where the analysis and the design and the development and the testing are completed for our project. So the objective is to complete all project deliverables. This is the analysis documents. This is the design documents. This is the code. This is the test results. And finally, this is the working code. And the training materials, and the operational support manuals, and everything else required to make this software work, to complete the deliverables, to deliver the value to the business for which the project was undertaken. So that's the main focus of this process. Managing product delivery is to complete all of the project deliverables for the project. However, in order to ensure the project remains on track, we also need our team members to provide status to ourselves, to the project managers, so that we can control the project, so that we can be aware of how well we're doing, so that at 6 months into the project we know whether we're on track or not on track, ahead of schedule or behind schedule, and so on. So the team's focus is on completing the project deliverables. The team will often feel that providing status to the PM is annoyance. And maybe your team members are more attuned to supporting project management delivery than mine. But often the team members say, oh, come on, Steve, you don't need status for me this week. I'm really busy. I need to get this deliverable. Wouldn't you be much happier that I've got the deliverable completed on schedule than giving you a status report? And my answer is, I'd be much happier if you did both, if you completed the deliverable on schedule and you gave me a status report, because it's only by getting that detailed status report from you that I can truly assess how well the project is doing, and only with that status can I begin to take the proactive actions that I need to keep the project on track. So our outcomes are really very much a repeat of our objectives. All of the project deliverables, the analysis documents, the design documents, the code, and so on, as appropriate for the phase of the project that they're working on. And the thing that us PMs need is our weekly status reports, which is going to be our actual time, and the narrative. Here's what I did. Here's my probs. Here's my issues. Here's my warnings. And in terms of the activities in managing project delivery, again, MP, there's really only three. Well, there are only three. The first activity is accept the work package. This is where the PM assigns the work package to the team member, and the team member says, yes, I accept that work package. I understand what that work package is, and I give you a commitment to get that work package completed. Then they do the work. This is where they complete. This is where they do the project. And finally, when they're all done, they're going to deliver the completed work package to the PM, and the PM is going to validate that the work package does satisfy the project requirements. And our first activity, accepting a work package, warrants taking a few minutes to really focus on what this activity is, because there are some very critical aspects to this activity that's critical for successful delivery of our Prince2 project. It's not simply saying, team member, here is the WBS, the work breakdown schedule, go take it, figure out what you need to do. I've got work assigned to every one of you, and come back to me in 6 months' time when you've completed all of our work. Now, hopefully no one considers that to be effective project management, but Sometimes the team would like to treat it that way, simply saying, tell me everything I have to do, let me go away, let me pick and choose, let me do the work in the order that I want to do it. I'm the one doing the work, let me manage my time. And yes, there is an element of that we need to let them manage their own time, but on the same behalf, we really need them to truly commit to delivering the WBS, the work breakdown structure, the project task list, according to a predefined plan, because that plan identifies all of the priorities and all of the interdependencies between the work packages to ensure that everything is done on schedule and in the appropriate fashion. So the first step is after we do the assign. So there is an implied first step. We assign the work package. So we say, team member number 1, here's the first package I need you to work on. The first step is for that team member to understand the work package. Take the work package and review what it is that we are expecting them to do within that work package. And then I would expect the team member to repeat it back to me. And I don't mean take the exact words that I had written down on the task assignment for the work package, but I would expect the team member to say, here is my understanding of what it is I need to do to successfully complete this work package. And if I, the PM, understand the work package with sufficient detail to validate their understanding, then I'll say, yes, team member number 1, you're bang on. That's exactly what I need you to do. Or often, I, the project manager, don't have that degree of intimacy with every single work package. I would get them to talk to my SME. Now, that may be a business SME. If it's an analysis task, the team member would talk to the business SME and say, here's what I believe I need to do to complete this task. Is this correct? Do I have the appropriate understanding of the business requirements? And my business SME would say, yes, you're bang on. Or if this is a design or a development task, the SME may be a member of my team. It may be my senior analyst. It may be my senior designer. So my developer would take the task, review the coding expectations for them for that task, and then they would go back to the senior analyst or the senior designer and validate that everything it is that we are expecting them to do, in fact, is consistent with the design for that particular program. Then we're going to ask them to estimate the work package. And this may be starting to sound very familiar. There is an absolute correlation between what happens in the team's execution of the project, managing product delivery, as we've already discussed in terms of the PM interface to the assignment of the work package to the team. So if there's a degree of similarity to material we've already discussed in this Nugget series, that's because there is a one-to-one relationship. From a PM viewpoint, when I'm controlling my project, I need to ensure my team members understand the work package, that my team member is estimating the work package, and as a team member accepting a work package, as a team member, I want the team member to understand the work package, to estimate the work package. So again, they've gotten their tick box from the SME. This is exactly what it is this task needs to do. Then they're going to come up with their own estimate. Steve originally said, or the plan originally said, this should be a 16-hour task. This is where we hope the team member is going to come back and say, yep, you're absolutely bang on. I believe I can do this in 16 hours. Or maybe they're going to come back with a 32 hours. Or maybe they're going to come back with a 10 hours. Whatever it is they believe is going to take to get the job done. And as already discussed, there may be some back and forth discussion. That's awful big. Why do you think that's so big? Oh, well, maybe you need to go back to the SME because I think there's a misunderstanding. Or we'll have the other flip side to that. That's awful light. That's, 30, 40% less than the original estimate. Are you sure you understand everything that the task, the work package needs to do? Not that I'm wanting to pad the estimate, but I'd rather them do the work right the first time than underestimate and deliver an unsatisfactory, incomplete work package. And then we have a unique characteristic. I want the team member to plan how they're going to do this specific work package. So again, This is a 16-hour. Let's assume we negotiate it and we accept it that the original estimate is 16 hours. So for the first 2 hours, I'm going to do subtask 1. And then for the next 4 hours, I'm going to do subtask 2. And then for the next 3 hours, I'm going to do subtask 3. So I expect my team members to take and develop their own internal. Now, they don't have to put this into a project scheduling tool, and they don't have to tell me that this is going to happen on day 1 morning and this is going to happen and complete halfway through day 1 afternoon. But I absolutely want them to develop a micro plan of how they're going to deliver the 16 hours of work for the project. And so that they can, again, better manage, better track, and better control their work on their project. And if the task is only 16 hours, probably not a big deal. There's hopefully not a lot of room for, I'm going to say, error on doing that. And they can probably visualize and manage themselves to successful conclusion on a 16-hour task. But let's assume the task was a little bit bigger. Let's assume this was a 60-hour estimate. Is it feasible that any single team member can pick up a 60-hour task and say, yep, I can absolutely do that in 60 hours, and I can self-manage myself, and I can ensure I'm going to deliver that task exactly in 60 hours. It's going to be spread over 3 weeks because I'm going to have to work on it part-time. Yep, no problem. I can do that. I think the answer is no, they can't do that. It's 60 hours. So in week 1, they're going to spend 10 hours, and they hope to be at subtask number 1 at the end of the 10 hours. And by week 2, they're going to put 30 hours in, and they should be at subtask 4. And by week 3, they're going to put in the remaining 20 hours. So again, we need to do a degree of breakdown to make the work package controllable and manageable. Now, do I really need them to give me this detail, their individual work breakdowns? Probably not. And I say probably not. If this is an absolutely junior developer who I don't have a lot of experience with, is a brand new hire straight out of college, I may ask them to give me this degree of work breakdown because I'm going to want to help them do a better job of managing their tasks. But if this is a seasoned developer, it's been with the company for 150 years, been there, done that, got 16 t-shirts, no, I'm not going to expect them to do that. I know they're going to do this, or I'm going to validate. Have you done your planning of the work package? They're going, Steve, come on. How long have we been working? Of course I planned my work package. But I'm not going to ask them to give me proof of it. And then finally, consistent with what we've already discussed, I want the team member to commit to the delivery. Whether it's 16 hours, whether it's 32 hours, whether it's 10 hours, or this is a really big, gnarly work package and it's 60 hours, I want them to look me in the eye and say, Steve, I can do this. I have confidence. I have the knowledge. Yes, I can do this. You have my personal commitment. And our next activity, execute a work package. This is where the work gets done. Project happens. This is where the team produces all of the project deliverables. And how the team produces the project deliverables is not Prince2. This is your systems development life cycle. This is defined by the analysis, the design, the development, and the testing methodology that your organization uses. This is not Prince2, but this is absolutely where all of the team happens. These other 4 activities, this is Prince2. While the team is producing all of the deliverables, we expect the team to record the effort, their actuals. This week, I spent a total of 15 hours. And what their ETC is, the estimate to complete. And I don't believe the ETC is ever simple math. Original estimate was 32 hours. I spent 15 on it to date, so therefore my ETC is 17. I would be as bold as to say the right answer is never 17, or the right answer is very rarely 17, because after we spent 15 hours on a task, there's going to be new information. They're going to either say, yes, I can do this a little bit faster, things are going better than expected, or the bad news story is it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take me not 17 hours, but 18 hours or 19 hours. But we need the team to record the effort, and we need the team to come up with a realistic ETC. Now, in terms of recording the effort, how granular, how precise do we need the recording of the actuals? And I'm going to say it's going to depend on your own organizational policies and procedures, but generally speaking, to the hour, or at best to the half hour, is typically all the granularity that we need for tracking the effort, the actuals, on a project task. Now, your organization may be more granular than that and want it down to a quarter hour or a tenth of an hour, or whatever the case is going to be. But generally speaking, to be consistent with Prince2 approaches, recording the actuals at an hour, or again, at most granular case, the half-hour basis, is more than adequate to satisfy Prince2 appropriate project management methodology. And not to insult lawyers, this is not lawyer mentality where we bill to the nearest minute. This is not for billing purposes. This is for management and control purposes, to validate on average are all of the tasks that all of my team members are working on for the week going to be recorded within plan or not. Now, again, if you're a consulting organization and you do generate billing, you may need to have more granularity than a half-hour basis. But for the purpose of recording effort and updating the ETC from Prince2 viewpoint, it's not for billing purposes, it's for tracking and management processes. Our next activity is reporting the status. Here's what I did. Here's what I planned to do, but didn't get to. So this is beginning to tell a story. Here's what I did. Here's what else I thought I was going to be able to do, but I didn't get to. Here's what I did but hadn't planned. Scope creep potential. And here are my plans for the next week. Reporting status. What I did, what I planned to do but didn't get to, what I didn't plan, and my plans for next week. To me is a full, complete status report, as well as Prince2 breaks it out as a separate activity. What are my problems? What are my warnings? To identify additional issues and risks that the team member has identified as part of project delivery. The team members in the trenches, the team members doing the work. The team member is one of the most ideal places to identify projects, issues, and risks, to ensure that the project issues and risks are being brought forward to project management attention so that appropriate proactive steps can be taken to get rid of the issues and risks as quickly as possible to prevent them from having future project negative impacts. And our final activity, as defined by Prince2, is we expect our team members to follow all of the standard processes defined for our project. So we have a specific quality management plan. We've talked about quality management planning already in this series. We expect every single team member to follow the quality management plan. If we have inspections, if we have audit, if we have peer reviews, if we have test reviews, if we have every single quality process, we're expecting our team to adhere to, and on a random basis, I'm going to almost use the term audit, but we're going to validate that all of the quality processes are being adhered to. And same for the configuration management processes. Both code and documents need to be configuration management. Code will typically be put into a software versioning control system, and we need to ensure that all code is being properly checked in. I like to have a standard that all code needs to be checked in by end of night, so that there's no code left open on a desktop and on a laptop that gets taken home and the car gets stolen, or the laptop gets stolen out of the car while at a parking garage. Again, this is just a personal bias. I like to have all of my code checked in before the person leaves for the night, even if it's not code complete. It just prevents something bad happening to that PC, whether it's in the car or whether there's a power spike at the office and the hard drive gets fried or whatever. It's far safer to have the code checked in on a managed server with backups than sitting on a lonely laptop or a lonely desktop, so that we're following the proper code configuration processes and that we're following the appropriate documentation processes. Again, the same thing. My policy is nothing stays on a laptop or a desktop. Everything should be checked into a server that's in a proper controlled environment with backups and so on in place. So again, we are expecting our team members to follow all of the quality and all the configuration and every other process that's defined for our project. The team members' focus, as discussed in the introduction, is often exclusive on producing the deliverables. That's where the glory is. That's where they get the accolades. That's when they go to the business and say, here's my code, here's my analysis document, here's my deliverable. Isn't it wonderful? And they get the pats on the back saying, yes, that's a wonderful document. Thank you. The rest of this, I'm not going to say is the overhead required to make the project work, but this is the Prince2 expectations on every single successful project, where we're tracking time, we're reporting status, we're following our quality processes, and we're identifying the risks and issues. And I call this out because, again, my experience is I often have team members who get so excited about producing the deliverables that they tend to not put the appropriate care and attention onto following the appropriate project management practices that are so essential to successfully delivering our projects on time and on budget. Now, how do I motivate my team members to track their actuals, to report status, and follow all the configuration processes? I appeal to their egos, just like delivering that wonderful code, and they get the pats on the back and the attaboys. If they work on my project and they do all of this, my project's Prince2 project, maybe I shouldn't be taking personal credit for this, but if they do all of this and follow the Prince2 processes, the project is going to be more successful. And there's no better attaboy or attagirl pat on the back than being recognized as the member of that project that delivered on time, on budget, to ecstatic business expectations. Again, it's the appeal to the ego. If you do all of this, we're going to have the most successful project in our organization, because I'm going to manage the project, I'm going to manage the business, I'm going to ensure successful delivery, you're going to ensure quality results, I'm going to ensure successful delivery, and between us, doing all of this combined, we're going to deliver our project on time. That's project management, that's Prince2. On budget, that's project management, that's Prince2. To ecstatic business satisfaction, that's your work. So I'll help with 2 of the 3, and you can look after 1 of the 3, and this is how we ensure that we're going to deliver our project successfully. And our final activity is deliver the work package. As described in the overview, this is where the deliverables are presented to the PM. Deliverables do not go straight to the business. And having taken all that time to write it out, I'm going to exit out, because deliverables do not go straight to the business. Deliverables go to the PM first, so that the PM can validate completeness. The PM can ensure that the quality is complete, and the PM can ensure that the configuration is complete, that we have done everything that we've said we need to do, that in fact the product is delivering everything that the business wants. Now, case in point, quality and configuration is complete. If the team member is not following the process, and I'm going to use an extreme, bizarre example, if the team member has produced a high content analysis document, and the high content analysis document is handwritten on napkins, the business probably isn't going to consider that to be a very rich, complete deliverable. All of the words, all of the material is there, but because it's handwritten in horrible handwriting, just like Steve's, the business is probably not going to be very happy with it. So therefore, the quality is not complete. That needs to be done in a word processing package. It needs to follow our standards. It needs to be well formatted. It needs to be grammatical free. It needs to be typo free, and so on and so on and so on. And we need to ensure that 100% of the business functionality has been delivered. So we produce the deliverables to the PM, and just like we had going when we were accepting the work package, the PM may be able to validate it in and of himself or herself, or the PM may need to send the deliverable to a subject matter expert to validate that the deliverable is complete. This concludes our nugget on managing project delivery, MP. This is where the project is delivered. This is where the team does all the work. As defined by Prince2, there are 3 key activities. The first activity is the team accepts the work package. They display their understanding of the work package. They estimate the work package, and we may have to negotiate the expectation for the estimate, and we get their commitment to deliver exactly what it is they understood at a specific estimate, and we take that forward. We get them to look us in the eye and say, yes, this is what I'm going to do, and then they do the work. Again, this is the core of the project. 90% of the total effort for our project is going to happen in this single activity. This is where all of the analysis and all of the design and all of the development and all of the testing happens. This is where, again, the project is delivered. This is where the team does all of the work. At the same time as they're doing the work, we expect them to support project management, where we need to track the actuals and the ETCs. We need them to provide status. We need them to provide issues and warnings and risks, and we need them to follow the processes. And finally, our last activity is deliver the work package to the PM, and the PM validates the completeness and the acceptability. And when that is done, the work package, the deliverable, is ready for presentation to the business for final formal acceptance. This concludes our nugget on managing product delivery. I hope this module was informative for you, and thank you very much for viewing.